The United States. A nation built on winning, but in the world's most popular sport, one trophy has always remained out of reach. 24 years. That's how long America has waited for this exact moment. Not a Super Bowl moment, not a Game 7 moment, a World Cup quarterfinal moment. And tonight in Seattle, 90 minutes stand between the United States and a piece of history so big it might genuinely break the internet. Here's what nobody's saying out loud. This isn't just a soccer match. This is the game that decides whether soccer becomes a mainstream American obsession overnight or stays the sport we pretend to care about every 4 years. If the USA beats Belgium tonight, you will not be able to escape it tomorrow. Not on Twitter, not on TikTok, not at your office. Every casual fan who's been quietly watching Pulisic highlights is about to become a diehard by Tuesday morning. But here's the catch. Belgium has beaten the USA 5 straight times. 5, including a 5-2 humiliation in March, 3 months before this tournament even started. So before we talk about the internet-breaking celebration, we need to talk about the one matchup that decides whether that celebration happens at all. Stick with me, because I don't think most people watching tonight even know where to look. Let's be clear about the stakes here, because they're almost absurd. The USA's best ever World Cup finish was 3rd place, back in 1930, in the very first tournament ever played. Since then, the USA has been eliminated at exactly this stage, the round of 16. In 3 of their last 4 tournament appearances, 2010, 2014, and 2022. This is the wall. This is where the story always ends over and over again, like a script the programme can't escape. Except this time, almost everything about the situation is different. This time, they're co-hosting a World Cup on home soil for the first time since 1994. This time, Mauricio Pochettino, a manager with genuine top-level European pedigree, someone who's coached at the very highest level of the club game, has built something that looks less like a plucky underdog story and more like an actual system, built around pressing, ball retention, and quick vertical transitions. And this time, they get to do it in front of a sold-out deafening home crowd at Lumen Field in Seattle, the same stadium that already roared them through a group stage win over Australia. Think about what's actually on the line here beyond the scoreline. Win tonight, and the USA plays either Spain or Portugal for a spot in the semi-finals of a World Cup they're co-hosting, with the entire country suddenly paying attention in a way it never has before. That is the kind of storyline that doesn't stay inside sports media. That's the kind of storyline that takes over every timeline, every group chat, every sports radio show in the country by breakfast tomorrow. But none of it happens. None of it. Unless the USA solves one specific problem first. Forget Kevin De Bruyne for a second. Forget Romelu Lukaku potentially coming off the bench in the second half looking to be the hero everyone expects him to be. The single most dangerous player on that pitch tonight is Jérémy Doku, and the entire tactical outcome of this match may come down to one man's ability to slow him down, Sergiño Dest. Here's why this matters so much. This past club season, Doku completed more dribbles per 90 minutes than any other player in the Premier League and the Champions League combined. 4.2 per game in the league, 5.6 per game in Europe. Let that sink in. That's not just a good winger having a good year. That's arguably the single hardest player in the world to defend in a straight one-on-one situation right now, at this exact moment in his career. And here's the part that should genuinely worry USA fans watching tonight. In that March friendly, the 5-2 humiliation everyone keeps bringing up, Doku had 3 shots, 2 of them on target, 3 chances created, and 3 completed dribbles in just 73 minutes before he was substituted. He tortured this exact USA backline, with essentially this same group of defenders on the pitch. Here's the interesting twist, though. In Belgium's actual World Cup run so far, Doku's had a surprisingly quiet tournament. He was subbed off in the 56th minute of Belgium's last game. the extra time win over Senegal without registering a single shot or a single completed dribble. That's either a genuine sign that he's not sharp right now, maybe rust, maybe the birth of his child earlier this year disrupting his rhythm, or it's a coiled spring about to go off against a USA side that's historically struggled to contain him specifically. If Dest tries to defend Doku in isolation the way he did in March, one-on-one, no help, hoping his individual quality is enough, this game likely ends the same way the last 5 have. What USA actually needs is a coordinated double team on that flank. Dest engaging early to slow Doku's first touch, with Weston McKennie or the nearest central midfielder rotating over to cut off the second option the instant Doku beats his first man. Pochettino has the tactical structure to do this. His teams have always been built around coordinated pressing triggers. The real question tonight is whether that help arrives from the opening whistle or only after Doku's already torched them once and the damage is done. Now here's the twist that almost didn't happen, and it might be the single biggest tactical development of this entire round of 16. Folarin Balogun, the USA's tournament leading scorer with 3 goals, was staring down a suspension after a red card against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Hours before this match, FIFA's disciplinary committee reversed that suspension. That decision alone might swing the entire tie. Why does it matter this much? Because without Balogun, Pochettino's likely answer was either Ricardo Pepi, a different profile entirely, more of a pure penalty box poacher than an all-around threat, or some kind of makeshift false 9 experiment using Pulisic or McKennie out of their natural position. Both of those solutions blunt the exact thing that's made this USA attack dangerous all tournament long: verticality and the threat of running in behind a defensive line. Balogun's game is built on running in behind, holding up the ball under pressure and finishing efficiently in tight moments. 3 goals from limited service across this tournament tells you everything about his end product. With him back leading the line, Christian Pulisic doesn't have to be everything at once for this team. He can sit in behind Balogun as a creator instead of being forced into a finisher's role, and let the double pivot of Tyler Adams and Malik Tillman feed quick, vertical passes into the space Balogun's movement creates, rather than grinding out slow, patient build-up that plays into Belgium's hands. This is the version of the USA attack that's actually dangerous, not the improvised hour-before kickoff version that half the previews were bracing for. Here's the quiet battle that decides everything else happening on the ball tonight. The fight for control in the middle of the park. Belgium's entire game plan under Rudi Garcia runs through Yuri Tielemans and Hans Vanaken dictating rhythm, slowing the game down when they need to breathe, speeding it back up the moment they smell blood in transition. If Belgium controls that tempo for 90 minutes, the USA is chasing shadows no matter how well Dest handles Doku on the flank. The USA's answer has to be Adams and Tillman refusing to let that midfield pairing ever settle into a rhythm. Tielemans in particular has already been heavily overworked across this tournament and tired midfielders foul. That's exactly the kind of undisciplined pressure USA needs to draw out in dangerous areas near the box. If McKennie, Adams and Tillman win the ball high up the pitch and transition immediately through Pulisic and Balogun before Belgium's back four can reset its shape, this stops being a patient European possession game entirely. It becomes exactly the kind of frantic, high-intensity fight that plays directly into USA's home crowd energy and fitness advantage. There's one more variable that could quietly decide this entire tie, and it's barely getting mentioned anywhere: set pieces and substitutions. Belgium has real dead ball quality all over the pitch. De Bruyne and Tielemans on corners and free kicks, and either De Bruyne, Tielemans or Lukaku stepping up if there's a penalty. That is a genuinely terrifying list of names for USA to face from a dead ball, especially defending set pieces against players who have made careers scoring exactly this kind of goal. And then there's Lukaku himself. He's not starting, Charles de Ketelaere leads the line instead, but Lukaku coming on with fresh legs in the 65th or 70th minute against tiring USA centre-backs is precisely the kind of look what we had in reserve moment that's ended American World Cup runs before. USA's bench answer has to be just as sharp. Whether that's Haji Wright's aerial presence or fresher legs in midfield to keep the pressing intensity up in the final 20 minutes, rather than sitting back and inviting exactly the kind of set-piece siege Belgium is built to punish. So let's say USA gets all four of these things right. Dest contains Doku with real support. Balogun gives this attack its teeth back. Adams and Tillman choke the life out of Belgium's midfield. And the bench holds the fort against a fresh Lukaku and Belgium's set-piece threat late on. What happens next isn't just a final score on a graphic. It's a genuine cultural moment. It's the Landon Donovan against Algeria energy, except bigger because this time it's an actual knockout win on home soil as co-hosts with the entire country's attention already primed by an entire summer of World Cup build-up. Every network cuts to it. Every group chat lights up at the same time. Every person who swore they don't care about soccer suddenly has a strong opinion about Christian Pulisic by tomorrow morning. That's not hyperbole. That is genuinely what happens when a host nation breaks through at their own tournament, on their own stage, in front of their own fans. This is the match where soccer in America either takes a real permanent step forward or waits another 4 years to try again. So that's the read. Dest on Doku, Balogun unlocking the attack, the midfield tempo battle, and the bench battle nobody's talking about enough. If you think I'm wrong about where this game actually gets decided, tell me in the comments before kickoff tonight. And if USA actually pulls this off, come back because I'll have the full breakdown of exactly how they did it. Subscribe so you don't miss it. See you in the next one.